Good morning. What are some heroes you can name? Can you name any heroes? Okay, what's a hero? Batman. Okay, what else? What are some other heroes? Superman. Yeah, good. Any others? Okay. What are some more heroes? Xavier. So you're naming these guys? Batman. Yeah. Superman. Spider-Man. All right. Yeah, he isn't on the picture. So, well, these are known as superheroes, but there are other kinds of heroes. At Christmas, we celebrated the Prince of Peace, who's a hero of peace, who solved problems not with violence, but with peaceful means. And tomorrow, we celebrate another hero of the peace, Martin Luther King Jr., who didn't preach violence. He was a preacher, and he preached peace. Now, he was working at a time when black people in this country couldn't go to most schools or hospitals, and they couldn't vote. And he was working to change that, and he did that with peace marches and with peaceful protests. Now, there were a lot of people that were angry and wanted to use violence, but the leadership of the movement used peaceful means, and I think we're lucky that they did. Now, I don't let our kids watch much TV shows with a lot of violence because on TV, the hero says, "Get out," and it works, right? They use violence and threats, and it is redemptive. But in real life, that usually isn't the case. If Martin Luther King had been preaching that when they bomb us, we need to bomb them, today we might still be worried about bombing and violence. Now, I'm going to tell you a story about something just as crazy as something you might see on TV. Do you feel like Bluffton's a pretty safe town? It is. And it's really, really safe. And do you feel pretty safe, like right now? Do you feel like this is a safe place? No? Well, that's weird, because this is really safe. And we're lucky that it's safe. That hasn't always been the case. One of the churches where Martin Luther King worked in Alabama had a church service that started at 10:30, just like our service. And at 10:22, a bomb went off in the church as everybody was gathering, and 4 little girls were killed. This was just the most famous of the bombings. Just the city of Birmingham alone had 40 bombings, and some people started calling it the town of Birmingham because they had so many. Now, Martin Luther King could have said, we need to fight back. We need to, if they bomb our churches, we need to bomb their churches. But he didn't. He preached forgiveness and love and redemption. In fact, the sermon that morning was entitled, "The Love That Forgives." Ironically, the bomb blew out all the stained glass windows in the church except one that showed Jesus leading a group of children. This is a picture of the church. It's a big church. It's still there today. They fixed it up and it's still there. So the governor of Alabama that week had said that he was preaching violence. He was encouraging. He said to the New York Times, "We need a few first-class funerals to stop these black people from these protests they're doing." So he was encouraging it. And the guy that they caught with the dynamite, who had been seen at the church, he was found not guilty by the powerful people in Alabama. And they fined him $100 and sentenced him to a little bit of jail for having dynamite without a permit. But he was found not guilty, and he went free. Now, Martin Luther King could have, I'm sure people were very angry, but this is what he preached at the funeral for the little kids. And now I don't know exactly how he said it. I'll try to read. He was a very good reader. I need a couple of volunteers. Seth, you wanna do this over here? Here. Now, what I want you to do is just hold this up. This says, "Oh yeah." That says "yeah," because I can't read the whole part, and I have the transcript. But you'll have. So when I point to you, hold that up, and everybody say "yeah," okay? And if I point to you, everybody say "oh yeah." That's what the audience said during the funeral. So Martin Luther King said, "God still has a way of wringing good out of evil." The innocent blood of these little girls may well serve as a redemptive force that will bring new light to this dark city. The Holy Scripture says, a little child shall lead them. The death of these little children will lead our whole Southland from the low road of man's inhumanity to the high road of peace and brotherhood. These tragic deaths may lead our nation to substitute an aristocracy of character for an aristocracy of color. And so I stand here to say this afternoon to all assembled here that in spite of the darkness of this hour, we must not despair. We must not become bitter, nor must we harbor the desire to retaliate with violence. No, we must not lose faith in our white brothers. Somehow, we must believe that the most misguided among them can learn to respect the dignity and the worth of all human personality. And it was because of the civil rights movement leaders that they responded this way that today we're not scared of bombs going off, and we're not still worried about violence. Like in so many countries, in so many places in history where violence was met with violence, today instead, we're not worried about bombs. We're celebrating Martin Luther King. And a year after this happened, partly because of the redemptive force of nonviolence, the Civil Rights Act passed. And for the first time, black kids were guaranteed the right to be able to go to any school and to any hospital. Thank you. You can sit down.